overseas. Did you say the federal law requires the NCAA to permit biological men to play in women's sports?
No, I said there have been 5 cases in federal court in the past 18 months. And
okay, because I thought you told him that
federal judges sided with participation.
The reason the NCAA couldn't take a position on this, in fact, you have taken a position on it, you're affirmatively permitting biological men in women's sports, but you said to him it's because of federal law. There's no federal law that requires it, right? The relevant federal law is Title IX, is it not? You're familiar with Title IX.
If guidance on this issue from Title IX or guidance with respect to discrimination law would be
Title
important.
IX is already the law. Title IX says
federal judges have ruled on
this. It's 20 U.S.C. Section 1681A. By the way, let's just dispense with that canard. No federal court has ordered the NCAA to include biological men in women's sports.
Hey everyone. Today I'm diving into a fiery exchange between Senator Josh Hawley and NCAA President Mark Baker. The topic? Transgender inclusion guidelines in women's sports, sparking debates across the nation. I'll break it all down into key points, so stick around to get the full story. And before I jump in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for more insightful breakdowns like this one. Let's get started. First, let's talk about how this all started. During a Senate hearing, Senator Josh Hawley questioned NCAA President Mark Baker about the inclusion of transgender athletes in women's sports. Hawley began by challenging Baker's claim that federal law requires such inclusion. Hawley pointed out that no federal law explicitly mandates this policy, putting Baker's defense under scrutiny.
Right? There's not a single case that has ordered the NCAA to do so, correct?
That's pretty much what they decided in the Senate.
No, don't say pretty much. We're talking about the law here.
Yes,
I know. And you actively dissembled to Senator Kennedy just a second ago. It's not true that the NCAA has been ordered by any court, number one. It's not true that federal law requires you to include biological males. In fact, Title IX explicitly says, no person in the United States shall on the basis of sex be denied the benefits of any educational program or activity receiving federal financial assistance. You are in court at this moment arguing that Title IX doesn't apply to the NCAA, which is astounding to me, given the amount of money, federal money, the NCAA gets. But let me just ask you this. A total of 5 teams, 5 women's volleyball teams, Wyoming, Southern Utah, Utah State, Nevada, and Boise State all had to forfeit 7 games in their conference play, NCAA conference play this past year, women's teams, because a biological male, under your rules, was playing on a rival's team. How is that not denying them the benefits of the sport? Why is this fair to women?
And when that issue went to federal court, the judge sided with participation.
No, the NCAA did not go to court.
No,
that is not true.
The federal judge made the decision with respect to the issue you just raised.
Your rules have not been tried in federal court, and your rules explicitly permit biological males in women's sports. And I am asking you, why is that fair to the women? All of these women on these teams had to forfeit games and therefore a chance to compete in the championship because of your rules. And I want to know, why is that protective of women? That's my question.
So far, the federal government on the court side has issued decisions several times.
No, I'm not asking you about the
year.
courts. I know what the courts have done. Not one of them has
their
ordered the
interpretation
NCAA.
of federal law.
This is your policy, which you will not defend because, frankly, it's indefensible. Why are you, Mr. Baker, why are you allowing biological men to play in women's sports?
Because we believe that's consistent with federal policy.
So we're right back to your testimony is you believe you're compelled to do it by federal law. You would change it otherwise?
We believe our policy. I said in my opening comments to Senator Kennedy, the clarity on this issue at the federal level would be very helpful.
Oh, that is such a cop-out. In other words, somebody else please do it for us. Keep sending us the money. We'll go to court and argue that Title IX doesn't even apply to us.
We do not take a dime in federal money, not a dime.
Is that why you're arguing Title IX doesn't apply to you?
Yes, part of it, yes.
You honestly think you shouldn't be subject to Title IX?
We don't believe we currently are in federal court.
Amazing.
Federal court has affirmed that on a
absolutely
number of
amazing.
circumstances.
You have a pending lawsuit right now from female athletes who are suing you because you allow biological men not only in their sports but also in their locker rooms. Why do you do that, by the way? Why do your guidelines allow biological men into women's locker rooms without the women's consent? without the women's foreknowledge? Why do you do that?
That's not what our guidelines say.
They do say that. I've got them right here. Your guidelines say that transgender student athletes should be able to use the locker room, shower, and toilet facilities in accordance with their gender identity.
And
here they are, right here.
And then everybody else should have an opportunity to use other facilities if they wish to do so.
Okay, so the burden's on the women. So if the women then want to move to a different facility, in other words, if they want to abandon their own locker room, you're saying that they should have to do that? So in other words, it's their problem?
No, we put a significant amount of emphasis on what the locals' plans are, and we make sure that everybody.
What does that mean, the locals' plans?
Whoever it is that's hosting the event.
You have guidelines that instruct them what the best practices are, and your guidelines say that biological men can go in and use the women's locker rooms if they want to. What the women want has nothing to do with it. They're not mentioned in here at all.
Hawley called out the NCAA for allowing biological males to use women's locker rooms based on gender identity, even without the consent of female athletes. Baker's response? He pointed to local plans and claimed their guidelines offered optionality, but Hawley wasn't buying it, pointing out that the burden falls on women to leave their own locker rooms. This raised major concerns about privacy and fairness. In the end, Hawley didn't hold back. He accused the NCAA of failing to protect women athletes and neglecting their responsibilities. His message was clear. The NCAA's policies are not only unfair, but indefensible. This debate isn't just about sports, it's about rights, fairness, and accountability. So, what do you think? Is the NCAA doing enough to support women athletes, or is Hawley right to be outraged? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear your take. And before you go, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.